everyone. Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of words, recorder of videos, and slightly less congested tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to the Monday edition of Bye, weekly behind-the-scenes, DM-only live stream, Crafting the Deep, which I build, write, and prepare for our next session of... No, I'm gonna cough. Call from the Deep. Damn it. You are playing characters Gottwald, Max, Savra, or Toril. The stream is not meant for you and will be full of spoilers. The rest of you don't mind my occasional hacking and coughing. Welcome! We stream our D&D sessions live on YouTube every Friday. Join our official Discord server with invite link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, nope, shouldn't take a big breath there. Go to patreon.com/RogueWatson for our campaign. We use Roll20.net for streaming. I use OBS Studio. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while, and yet I actually did do D&D on Friday. Turns out that might have been a mistake, because Friday night was like the worst night ever for me, just feeling horrible and sore throat and just awful, like regressed on this sickness, and then I had to convalesce Saturday, but Sunday I finally started feeling better, and then today I'm feeling a lot better, although I'm only sounding, I think, slightly better because it's still all very nasally and stuff. So thank you all for having patience with me, for getting over just a classic kid crud plague with my kids being back in school and just instantly got the parents sick. And, of course, they are bouncing back very quickly. My oldest barely even got sick at all. But me and the wife were sick for a lot longer. She was sick more last weekend, and I was sick for this weekend. But well enough to do some crafting, and we still got through a D&D last time. And honestly, I think we had a really fun session. In fact, I did do some updates with flipping their map around on, which one was that? Pirate Lords. These folders are starting to get real messy. Ship encounters, I think. Yeah, so this was the map. One of the like 4 maps we were using. I'm way zoomed out. Their map, this one was down here, and I flipped it and pointed them this way because they mentioned that their ship was, they dodged out of the way and went alongside the other ship. So we're still in the middle of this combat encounter, but because I'm trying not to cough my way through this. I don't know how much more we need to prep for this in terms of a crafting stream, because it's basically just going to be kind of a big battle, I think, here. I love that Mac went in and kind of slowed the other ship down and was pretty just cool Navy SEAL shit of like sneaking in, and in fact, Demnix even did like a little Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell meme, which is awesome. And he's going to climb out and probably go to town on him. We've got the giant sickening radiance has appeared, so that's going to do a number on him. Honestly, I was worried about the players at first, but they've done this so well, and I think their NPCs helped absorb some serious blows that even minus a player, sorry, I'm going to have to cough a few times, even minus a player character, because Toril wasn't here, Gottwald and Savra never really sustained any damage, and Mac really only sustained damage because he went off on his own and failed a deception check, which I was willing to have him, Jedi mind trick the minions on board the little mobile Death Star here. So hopefully we can do some damage to the party, and like I said, we can always do summon more minions out of here and more purebloods or brood guards, whatever we need to make the action a little bit more exciting. But if it turns out they just absolutely kick ass in this next session, then I think that's fine too. I don't have a huge problem with it. Although pacing wise, things get interesting because we talked about using like the zombie dragon turtle, the Seatar of Urfong surrounding the Nelenther Isles, but at this point they have done the Pirate Lords quest chain for 6 sessions now, and there'll be one more obviously to finish this fight. Will be the 7th session before getting to the Driftwood Docks Sea King Tentrix lair, and I don't know if I really want to throw much more at the players, honestly. I think until we get there, like, it's starting to be like, when are we getting to the fireworks factory? Like, that's a lot of stuff to put at them, and I had no idea. When you plan on these things, you just don't know how long it's going to be and lengthy, and plus I didn't know, like, we've gone so many sessions now. I think I need to level them up after this battle here, before they even get, let them have another long rest, level them up, and then we get into the Driftwood Dock Sea King Tentrix area, because those should be big, large, just consider that its own quest chain, basically. I think we briefly talked about during the last crafting stream, that maybe that juvenile Kraken that they sort of released, but just basically didn't deal with at the end of the Styes situation could come up here and act as a crazy maybe final boss fight. It could do a couple of things, right? It could either come up if the party's in dire straits from the enemy and come up and tear the enemy ship apart as just sort of a Deus Ex Machina, but also a like, oh yeah, we freed a Kraken, and that Kraken maybe it hates the Black Armada because the Black Armada, is allied with the Mind Flayers. The Mind Flayers, the ones that enslaved it. So maybe it wouldn't like that too much. Or conversely, if the party ends up kicking the pirate's ass, then maybe the Kraken can appear for like, oh no, it's the real boss battle now. The juvenile Kraken you guys left behind is here. It's not something that's going to be a guarantee, I think, but in case things, I think, because if this ends up being a really cool knockdown, drag out battle, I don't want to necessarily take away from that. And instead, the juvenile Kraken could just be like a cutscene or something. Or it could be a way for the DM to just not let them have this ship, which again, I'm almost tempted to let them have this ship if they want it, because that could also lead to some interesting story things where they could kind of sneak their way into the final base. But that would be a pretty funny way of the DM saying like, no, instead the Kraken comes up and just smashes the shit out of this ship and you are not going to get it at all. How big is the actual Kraken token on here? Because this is where I think there's some disparity between tokens and size of creatures, because creatures that are incredibly large don't actually look like that when compared to other large objects. I'm just going to search Kraken. I don't know where it is. Kraken. Oh, that's right. It's down here on the Styes, isn't it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Where are you, juvenile Kraken? I've summoned you here for a purpose. No one summons juvenile Kraken. Come on. 20 might be lagging on me. I want to see how big it is. Oh, there it is. 2 of them have appeared. But see, look at this. Like, this thing should be, like, monstrously huge. I mean, I know it's not a full-grown Kraken, but I feel like this thing should be, like, half the size of the ship, right? Instead, the token's, like, slightly bigger. Or slightly bigger than Gottwald. It's a good way out of it. Yeah. Everybody should have the juvenile Kraken in their pocket. Just in case. So it's a thought. In fact, I may take it and just like, I don't know, blow it up a bunch or something, depending on how bad that looks. So juvenile Kraken could be included, but I just want to make sure this is a fun, cool, climactic, like earned final encounter. And if Desecratus is already doing that, then I may not need the Kraken at all. It may just come down to a cool big fight. But this is in case it goes really one-sided one way or the other. We can have the Kraken pop in and do its thing. So I'll keep that in mind for whatever's going to happen here. In terms of the Sickening Radiance, that's probably going to kill a bunch of people, or at least damage them. And then I think I gave the Nightmare Speaker Dispel Magic, so she can do that on her turn. Desecratus can cast something. I don't know. You got to be able to do something, right? Fire lightning bolts at the ship. Dimension Door is not going to be great. You want to teleport onto the ship. Dominate person could be very helpful. What is the range on that? 60 feet. Dominating Gottwald would be... And the nice thing is they already got to do some things. Ooh. He is currently 70 feet. I need you to move a little bit closer, Gottwald. So depending on how initiative runs out, Socrates might be able to cast Dominate Person. And unfortunately, Gottwald is the best one. And, the enemy would definitely take advantage of all their intel that they have on the party. Blight's only got 30-foot range. Old Person's only got 60-foot range. Fuck. I think Lightning Bolt's the best thing she's got in terms of just raw damage. And she's in an elevated position, so I would allow her to shoot over everybody else. Although she'd have to be shooting down, hit the ship, I guess, too. So hopefully we can get some cool lightning bolts or something coming out of there. And the Nightmare Speaker can cast Dispel. Oh, I probably need to give her some fucking layer actions, I realized. Yeah, let's just go ahead and give you Dispel Magic, because I think that's going to be pretty damn useful. Although her most useful thing is just to do that Spectral Fangs at range. In fact, she's more useful than the Spirit Naga, I just realized. Maybe I should give the Spirit Naga Dispel Magic. Damage-wise, she's got a 16 damage necrotic damage she can do twice at 120 feet. Or cast like this Phantasmal Terror thing. Or Suggestion. Man. That's interesting. Fear, probably not going to come into play this time. Alright, Pirate Lord, you need to have legendary actions, which I will probably flavor as layer actions, because that's the easiest thing for me to do. And we should be able to give you at least one bonus action where maybe you can direct somebody else to attack. Because this is a big boss fight, and you need something like that. I don't think I gave Dirge anything like that, though, did I? I did give Dirge Legendary Resistance, though, so I'll give it to her. Just the anti-banishment bullshit. Socrates. Alright, Legendary Resistance. Give her Spell Sniper. She can have range and accuracy. It's interesting. I don't really play around with giving enemies feats too much, but it's kind of a cool idea. What if you just gave like a fucking, you know, enemy archer the sharpshooter feat? That would be terrifying. Minion within, I don't know, probably 30 feet. How far can you yell? I'll do 50 feet. I call it a weapon attack. Commands that you want team minion within 50 feet to make a weapon attack. A target. You can both see. Attack gains 50 feet to use their reaction to make a weapon attack against target. They can both see. The attack gains advantage. It's not that powerful. Just a minion gets to make an attack. Alright, what is Spell Sniper? Well, it's not one word, that's what it is. Spell's range is doubled. Your ranged spell attacks ignore half cover and 3/4 cover, and you learn an extra cantrip. That would help, though. Double the range on any attack roll spell. So wouldn't it necessarily work for hold person or dominate monster, though? And lightning bolt's already got 100-foot range. What can we use for layer actions here? Probably. Trying to think of just maybe the ship. Maybe it's just the ship. The ship can still fire its weapons. The ship's crew. trying to think if I just want to make it like, because one thing my players have enjoyed is just tables that they roll on for like random effects that happen. So maybe it's like somebody gets shot by a ballista, or I have to make a deck save because the ships are, moving too much. Oh, right, lightning bolt's a save anyway. Good point. So I can do it something like that. Versus giving her legendary actions early, because there's also going to be a lot going on. And if I've already got the ships doing their thing, then I probably don't need to add anything extra. Because I figure the Malisons will do range attacks. The Purebloods have their short bows now, although they could also engage with the ballista, but I think that would take like all of their actions to fire one ballista shot. I'm not actually sure that would be the handiest thing they can do. Although actually, now that I'm looking at it, they only get one short bow attack also. So if that's the case, then maybe using their actions to fire a ballista together would not be too bad. And then if I want to try to board the party ship, which I should, because that would be fun, we can have brood guards, jumping their way over. And they're pretty strong, right? We already established they have a +4. Oh, no, they don't have +4. Who am I thinking of that have a +4 then? Huh. Brood guards are at +2. Oh, I got them a +4 saving throw. That's why. Interesting. So 15 feet. Yeah, maybe they got like ropes or shit. I don't know. Or the party might want to try to drift a little bit closer. I would probably let their ship drift closer. That wouldn't be too big of a deal to just grab it and scooch it closer. But I did mention the fact that because Chris was mentioning at the end of the session last time, I remember, and he's like, "How close is it?" And I was like, "It's about maybe 30 feet close or so." Not quite close enough to make it too safe to jump across. But that would help keep things interesting, just throwing more dudes at him. But the main goal would be to take out Desecratus for sure. And it may be that once she's dead, I can have this ship suddenly start breaking off and maybe retreating or something. I don't know. It would be nice to just have the party be the idea that like, all right, we took those guys down, now let's move on, versus like, oh shit, we can take this whole ship and now loot everything. And at that point, I would probably have maybe that Kraken show up to start destroying the ship. And the party's like, oh crap. And then the one thing they can grab, I might have some treasure on here they can get. In fact, I may just end up copying some of the treasure from the last area that they didn't get and have it so that they can find some of that treasure here, including a poor scroll of remove curse for Gottwall, because he's been a really good sport. Although, frankly, it's barely been debilitating for him with his amazing rolls of that Curse of Strength from the Fomorians. He's been cursed for many sessions now. So yeah, I think we can kind of move on from this one, because there's not much else I can prepare for the fight other than the fact that I've got that Juvenile Kraken kind of waiting there, just, ready to be used if need be, but otherwise it's really going to depend on the initiative. Notice how I haven't even rolled initiative for all these guys yet. So that's going to be a big deal, because that'll determine how this fight really ends up going in terms of who gets to cast big spells, and, more Brood Guards get to run over here and jump across the ship and try to fight them, and who knows how many are going to actually be summoned from below deck. I'm really going to try to play that by ear and not have it be like a pain in the ass slog, but make sure that it feels, pretty well balanced for the party to the best of my ability. Which brings us to what I was looking at from before when we first got on, which is, I was going to say the next chapter. Technically, this is all the same chapter of Call from the Deep, but I'm kind of making them separate sections, since I'm leaning towards letting the party long rest and level up after this session, this coming session, but before they get to Driftwood Docks. Shout out to patron and friend of the show, Refus, who concocted this battle map and uploaded it to the Discord channel. It looks flippin' awesome. You can actually see the cliffs and stuff, which is really badass. Because this map was really confusing me at first. I mean, the original just it confused me because I was like, wait, how is there supposed to be like actual ship passing through here? Like this is, one square is 10 feet, so there's like 20 feet of clearance. That's not a whole lot of ships are gonna be able to fit in there. And thankfully, this map now makes a lot more sense to me because this one is much bigger. It does represent about 300 feet across of a square battle map. And I even put the player's ship, which exists as a token. Shout out to Bear, also patron and friend of the show. This is the Sea Ghost map ship that I used from way back in session like 3 and on from then. And it exists as a separate token that I can plop anywhere. So I plopped it on this map, and sure enough, I don't even have to resize anything. Like it fits right in there, which is awesome. So Driftwood Docks, if we go back to the Nilanther maps, while I cough again. Sorry, the more I talk, the more phlegm gets phlegmed up. So they know that Tentrix is in here. They've known for actually quite a while. And then once the players actually make it in here, the specific location of Tentrix's lair isn't actually on one of these marked islands. It's a floating layer of, it's a ship graveyard, a bunch of ships like just thrown together and turned into this floating fortress. And that's kind of like not the final dungeon, but the final Black Armada questline dungeon area. But to even get to that, which is, where's that one? This is the original one, which obviously we'll be changing that up because the map's not going to work. And to even get to that, you have to make it through Driftwood Docks, which is the surrounding. So I'm going to get rid of this one. We're going to keep the other one. Is the, I guess, area that's these cliffs that surround the bay that includes the floating layer in it. So they have to make it through. Yeah, characters arrive at Driftwood Docks must navigate the treacherous waters and overcome the defenses of the ship graveyard before they can enter the bay containing Tentrix's lair. So it's supposed to be a skill challenge, which the only penalty is damage to your ship, which I guess still sucks, but frankly, I think the ship portion of this adventure is coming to an end. And then there's a whole bunch of creatures here. It's supposed to be just a giant defensive thing. The thing is, it's a really cool battle map, and I want to fight on it, but it's in the party's best interest to not fight their way in because they want to try to sneak their way out of the final battle map or dungeon or something if they can, and they're going to try to talk and do all that. However, their ship is obviously very recognizable. Everybody in the enemy certainly knows it. They've been sending guys to hunt them down. That's why I would send the Kraken over to destroy the Desecratus' ship so that they don't necessarily take that one, because that might take... It would just have to cause me to change a lot of things up, I guess, versus just turning this into traditional, you got to fight your way, through these defenses into a gauntlet of a situation to make it through. And it's kind of linear here. You're kind of forcing the party. It's the only entrance, I guess, that the party can make it through. And then there's just Ballista. There's the only weird thing is pacing wise, we just did our big kind of ship combat battle thing, and now we're going in, with the Desecratus pirate ship battle we're still doing. And now this sets them up for another one of those. I could skip this whole thing. Option one is I have to blow my nose. Sorry, I have to do this. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm alive. Option one, we skip this whole situation and they can pull right up to Tentrix's floating layer. That obviously creates some complications. And maybe they're smart enough to all right, let's park far away and then I'll take a rowboat in, or some plan of theirs, because their ship is super recognizable. Option two, we keep this as a battle, and the party has to fight their way in. There's mounted ballista. These cliffs are taller than their ship, by the way. These are 50-foot tall cliffs. So Like there should be dynamic lighting all around them because the player ship's probably only like 20 feet tall. I imagine the bottom layer is maybe 10 feet above the water, and this one's probably 20 feet. So these cliffs are going to be towering over their ship, which is going to put them at a big disadvantage from going through this area. It feels very like, I don't know, Jason the Argonauts shit, like just having to go through this treacherous island area. Option 3 is we let them, they have to basically talk their way out of the situation. So they come in and there's like some kind of social encounter where they can talk their way out of. I would kind of like to pull the trigger on the combat, honestly, even though it's a lot of combat back to back. And that's why I am thinking about getting rid of the zombie dragon turtle. I know. We all want to see them fight a zombie dragon turtle. But I think it's just too much ship combat. I was banking on using it for so long. It was going to be guarding the Nelanther Isles. It was going to be their last thing they have to do before they get here, but creating the giant pirate ship battle and excursion, having that last 2 sessions, and then having that be the climax of all these other pirate lord things. I feel like that's kind of pacing wise taking the place of what the dragon turtle would do, which is act as like a big boss fight before they've entered this area. So I don't think we need to do that. If anything, it would probably just be like a cutscene. It's like, oh hey, you've got the magic compasses, so maybe the dragon turtle knows not to fight your ship or something. Or we can perhaps oh, I flicked my mic off right when I was coughing. It's not what I meant to do, sorry. Or maybe we use the zombie dragon turtle as the skill challenge. So instead of a combat encounter, that's the skill challenge they have to do. There's some large like creature coming at them, and they have to do some expert maneuvering. And I like that Call from the Deep kind of gives you some ideas of like, oh hey, they don't all have to like literally use strength checks to like guide the ship around. They can use nature checks to look at the water. They can use survival checks to chart a course, performance checks to inspire the crew. You know, that kind of thing can be kind of nice. I feel like we've had some real hit or misses with our skill challenges, however. So I don't know. I'm of 2 minds of actually even using that as a thing versus letting them just kind of go in and make their way to the Driftwood docks and try to figure it out from there. Now, the one advantage to having them make this, have there be rough waters and have them come up here rather violently is so they don't get a chance to prep too much in too much of distance. Mainly because I don't have the map to support that. Because, like, why would you wait until you're here to do combat? Like, it doesn't make any sense. If you see enemies. Well, I guess the one thing is you couldn't see. Right? You're coming up on these cliffs and you just wouldn't be able to see. So maybe you're just trying to, like, hunker down and be like, all right, there's nobody on these cliffs. And all of a sudden, all these bows appear. And you're like, oh, fuck. Although they would probably use cheese to scout ahead. They would know something. And then, you know, Sarvis casting Sickening Radiance or something. Sorry, I hope I don't sound too bad. I knew it was going to get worse with me talking a lot, but... And unfortunately, you know, when you're sick, like, you feel... When you're getting better, you feel okay for the most part, but then when you start getting, like, evening, your body's, like, starts running down, and you're like, alright, you're running out of gas now, and this is definitely how I'm feeling, so... We might not do a full crafting stream, honestly. I guess we could look at what all the defenses are. I did think it'd be fun to have some kind of history behind Gottwald and the Frost Giant here, because he's a giant, what are they, a Rune Knight fighter, I think. And he's got some history with giants or something, so maybe that could be a cool thing. And his sword, like, does extra damage against giants, so you get a chance to use his sword against the last pirate lord, which is Jarl Bluebeard, a frost giant pirate. And his beard is an attack. Because he's got, like, hammers woven into his beard. I like his attack just says beard. Swings his beard at a 15-foot cone. Each creature needs to make a dex saving throw, taking 3d10 plus 6 bludgeoning damage. Does it show his beard? Yeah, there it is. You can see he's got, like, hammers in his beard. Do you really want Salvar to gain access to a dragon turtle corpse? But technically, if it's a zombie, it means it was already a zombie, though. Technically. There's a ring of swimming and a tentacle rod. We can get rid of that. I don't need a tentacle rod. Just use his beard powers. Who needs a tentacle rod when he's got the powers of beard? Ah. Alright, getting real bad. So that's cool. Basically to go right into another boss fight. So really it's still, I guess, the Pirate Lord thing. But I still feel like there's a separation between what they were doing and what this is, because this, even though they're facing technically the last pirate, well, I guess Scummer will be the last one. The first one they fought, he'll be at the Tentrix's lair. But this, because they won't get a chance to long rest again once they get to Driftwood Docks, because Driftwood Docks immediately leads into Tentrix's floating lair. So they'll be able to do the short rest stuff and all that, but there won't be any chance to rest up or level up after that. Ooh, and yeah, Jarl, I forgot about that. Jarl Bluebeard has a bowl of commanding water elementals, which you can use to summon a water elemental. That's pretty cool. After that, he hurls rocks. That's what giants do. That's just a cool situation. I think that's got to be a thing to do. So I think what's going to make the difference here is the dynamic lighting, putting the cliffs up here and making it so the players can't see. Although I'm sure they'll do their scouting thing. And then they'll know once they have to make it through here. And they should know that, like their ship is very recognizable. Like, at this point, the enemy knows they're coming. There's really no way for them to do subterfuge. Although I think it would be really, really fun and interesting to do some kind of cool, like, twist where they pull up to Tentrix's lair and they can just park their ship and walk right in and talk to people and do all that. And then once they're in and comfortable, that's when the enemy, like, springs their trap, basically. Like, maybe they even say, like, oh, yeah, Tentrix isn't here or something, and they're all out and about. And that's when, Tentrix and all his people come in there. And that's another map we'll have to come together, which I think I'm similar to Nerino. I think we're going to have to end up putting a different map together that's kind of based on the original map, because I actually don't think the original map was terribly interesting when it comes to a ship graveyard map. And a lot of that map is just empty rooms of pirate captain lords who are not there currently. So that'll be interesting depending on how long that'll take. I mean, this could easily be a 2-session battle or a 1-session battle. I don't know. But it should be a pretty big battle. There's mounted ballista. Each large island and bordering cliffs have ballista bolted to their decking, which all of these islands are supposed to be reference. I don't know if you missed this or this is just the art style you wanted to, and it's possible the map didn't have this as an art style, but all the islands are supposed to actually be ships, kind of broken up and fused together into a little ship graveyard. So they're all, mounted on all these ship things. But you can almost make a case for these being ships that have grown over with moss and stuff. Oh my goodness. All right, folks, I think this is going to have to wrap it up for this crafting stream, unfortunately. I am just hacking and coughing like crazy. I really thought I would do better for this, but it's kind of killing me, and I feel like I'm just kind of ruining things. Certainly ruining my throat. So I think we're going to call it right here. We'll definitely do one on Thursday, though, and hopefully I will be feeling much better on Thursday, because I am very, very sick of feeling sick. So if you enjoy the content, please do check out patreon.com/Rogue Watson. Thank you so much for your support. I'll do a Patreon outro next time as well. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, folks. I'm going to peace out. Have a good one.